Keys, I think firstly, talk us through 2023. Give us a little bit of a breakdown. Obviously, before you started with the team here, so I think let's do that let's call it pre-vault markets, pre-vault funded phase.
So 2023, what a year. So that for me, before joining the team, before the vault phase, I was still working. Funny enough, I was literally working in a bar, bartending and a bar manager, and I started getting into the prop firm industry. And at that point in time, trading was this thing. It was a side hustle. It was making money. And eventually I got these live accounts. I was pumping them out, just getting, I think I had like 3 live accounts, but I couldn't get the payout. And eventually I started surrounding myself with people that drove me to do better, to be better. As cliche as it sounds, cutting alcohol out my life, changing the habits. I wasn't out partying every weekend, every night. And eventually it started to show. I mean, training, being healthy, a healthy body, a healthy mind. And I think everything just led, and it just became this roller coaster. And it started being that escalator, just going up and up. And the first payout came, the second payout came, the third payout came. And before I knew it, I'd made like 2 years of salary in like 3 months. And I made the decision to go full time. And shortly after it, who knows, maybe it's something we go into another time. But that's a very long story. I get introduced to Chris. And Chris obviously starts this branch here in Vault Markets PE, and he's obviously looking for people for the team, branch out, and we get introduced. And at the time, it was one of those like cool guy, but we had our things. I'm obviously new full time, so you sit there going, is this for me? I've just worked for my freedom, my trader's freedom, and now I'm gonna give it right back. So I was skeptical, but I think like everything in life, you got to sacrifice to get. And I thought this is just the next chapter in my life, and that became a case of I'm giving up that so I can reap the rewards later in life. And it became a thing of joining the team, and after that, everything escalated. I had massive downs with the prop firm I was with, going to court, my accounts got frozen. And just like that, you think you're having the best time of your life, to you've in a way have lost everything again. You've just gone full time, you're not making money, and it got crazy. It got crazy very, very fast. I think that taught me what this industry is about. Just when you think you know everything, you realize you don't, and you have to grow up very, very fast, very quickly, and really mature. Because I think we all talk about it. When you either break, you're gonna break. But we always talk about tough times make strong people. And it was at that moment I decided I'm pushing through this no matter what it takes. Like, I'm giving this my everything. And I think the roller coaster for development as myself, I grew immensely at that point because of that, as a trader, as a person, and everything started escalating. We started the streams, we started the social media platforms, we started everything. And yeah, we sit 5 months, 6 months later and never look back.
Was there any stage where during those tough times, obviously you started off early, where you wanted to actually considering giving up or going back to that safety net of maybe I must get a 9 to 5?
I think 100% I did. And I think that's what a lot of people do in that situation. When you not only, I mean, I'm not single, so it's not just myself now. You got to start thinking of others, thinking of family. And it was that case of, you know what, did I bite off more than I could chew? Do I truly have what it takes to be in this industry? And 100% thought of it, going, listen, do I say I failed? Do I leave it and go back with my tail between my legs? And it was one of those moments. I think that's, again, going back to my parents, the way they raised me with everything in life. If there's a will, there's a way. And if you want something bad enough, you'll find that way. And it just became a thing of working. I didn't want to give up. And I think it was really that case of you push and you push and you push, and that moment you think you're about to break, that's the moment you have the breakthrough. And that's where things started to turn around for me.
What did you think initially when we met? Because I've seen you around, and it was very I almost want to say it is destiny almost that Caitlin was the first person I employed, and the connection was through Caitlin to you, to the rest of the trading community. What was your first thoughts when we had that first meeting here in the office?
Hey, I'm gonna be real with this one, and I'm sure a lot of people relate to this. When you take that step and you go full time, you feel untouchable, because for once in your life, and it's the money. Honestly, it's the money talking. You think, because I'm making more than I ever have in my life, and it's just getting bigger and better, like, no one's gonna touch you. I don't need to hear what this guy's got to say. Like, I've made my stage in my life. And you know what? I think this is gonna probably be the first time it says it, but it's that thing of, you know what? I'll come meet this guy, but I'm not interested. I'm not happy with what is there for them to offer me. And it's that typical thing of, again, young, stupid, going, I'm succeeding at this young age. What does this older guy have to teach me? And it was more a case of, I think afterwards, I'm lucky to just know that I think Chris and myself have a very similar background, if I say that. The sporting, like, we're proper boys. And I think that also allowed us to just have that connection. So after initially meeting him, I was like, okay, this guy's not too bad. So we did have that little click, and I think, again, you start realizing things in life, and it was a case of, you know what, put the ego aside. You can actually learn something from this person.
Going from the difficult phase into the better phase, then obviously learning a lot by yourself, about yourself. Do you feel that being in this environment here in the office and with other younger traders, maybe an older trader like myself, helped you?
Yeah, I definitely would say it did. And I think that purely comes down to this industry. This is an industry a lot of people don't understand. So I think if you're in the industry, you get it. If you know, you know. And I think surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded. I mean, if I go to someone else and I told them, I lost 10,000 Rand today for the possibilities of making 30,000. Cool, the possibility is there, but people are going, "You stupid, why are you losing that? It's a scam. What you talking about?" So people just don't get the roller coaster of emotions you go through as a trader. And not, again, the roller coaster of emotions, but the self-growth you go through. I always say to people, trading's got your 4 pillars. And probably the biggest pillar is psychological. And that really is a mind game. And I think being in this industry, getting to surround yourself with people that 24/7 understand you, that when you're going through the downs, they understand the downs. When you're on the highs, they understand the highs, and they're there to manage you and help you through that roller coaster of emotions. So 100%, I think being in this group, this environment, this family, it definitely made a difference for me.
Your highlight of 2023?
Highlights of 2023. That's a tough one. We had quite a few, but I think definitely for myself, I'd probably say I had the biggest trade of my career, which, again, for purposes, was basically a trade that helped me pass an account. So yes, it wasn't a payout amount, but the fact that I had a trade of that capability, the trade basically being a one shot of 18R, that was just statistically my best trade. But I think my biggest achievement is the streams. And going to that, I think not saying the numbers and the growth and all of that, it was the fact of stepping out into a world that I wasn't used to, stepping out of my comfort zone and in a way making it my own. So I must go for the streams. That for me probably was a massive thing in, again, my self-growth of 2023.
I think the streams force you to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you don't believe in yourself, then nobody else is going to believe in you.
Yeah, it's a brutal world, but it's also an amazing one.
2024, we don't want to give away too much. Obviously, we've got the year ahead. Just a little bit of a sneak peek. Don't give out too much, but some plans for 2024.
2024. Already, guys, this is gonna be a good one. It's a whole different ball game this year. Like we spoke about, it's a case of I've gone through the dip. Now I'm going for the peak of the mountain. So there's going to be traveling, there's going to be interactions, there's going to be a lot of who's, where we are, meet and greets. There's going to be the trades, the money. There's going to be the sports cars. There's going to be everything. And I think, again, there's going to be the giving back. So this is a year that there really is some big moves coming. And for myself personally, I think this is the year I cement myself in this industry.
I'm Javen Farrow. Grew up in Alabama North, moved to PE to come study.
Jeff, take us through 2023. Let's call it again the pre-Volt Markets phase before joining the team, and then
Pre-Volt Markets was actually, I had a lot of uncertainty in my life, especially in a sense of because I don't have a lot of resources. So I've been trying to partner a lot with different people and so forth, and I was used a lot. Then Chris came along and he said, yo, Jeff, come to the Volt Markets office. And then it's like a light bulb when just went off, and everything was just clear once again. It's like, I know what I'm working towards. Yes, it's taking longer than expected, but as long as I keep my mind, my vision and the picture clear, it started happening. So pre-Volt Markets, it was a lot of uncertainty, and the moment it happened, it was game over for myself.
Tell the guys a little bit about how did it happen for you joining the Volt Markets team. Give us a little bit of a story as to how things progressed. What was your mindset during that time?
So my main thing was always everything took place online. So I really wanted the office feel, actually being able to come to our office, teach people in person, obviously. I met Chris with the Volt Markets podcast, and we had a nice little chat there. I was also very shy the first time I spoke to Chris then. But then from there, what was the question again?
No, how did it come about you joining the team? Give the guys a little bit of a backstory.
So yes, also I've had many instances with Volt where I told them that I want to partner with them, but not just about the commissions. It's not just about the commission per se, because there's people out here who really need help. And I think Chris noticed that about myself, because he told me the first person who popped into his mind when they said in the training at the office was myself. So then, from there on, Chris told me to come in. I didn't even second guess it. I was in I didn't even think about it.
But it was a little bit of a build-up before I opened the office. I think it was in 6 weeks. I told you there's the potential plans, but I'm just keeping you in the loop. What was your feeling then?
There was a side of me that didn't really believe it's going to happen, because I've been disappointed so many times before. And then I guess also that anticipation as to the closer the time, sometimes I would message Chris and it's like, man wouldn't reply, and it's like, oh, did he forget about me? But then Chris gave me a date. I came here on that date. Chris was here waiting for me. He was only on the office then. We had a nice little chat then. Even then, I felt so welcomed.
And since joining the team, if you look back to Javen start of 2023 and the Javen start in 2024, is it the same person? And if it's not the same person, what has changed from the old, let's not call it the old Javen, but a year ago Javen that I met then and the Javen now?
I would say I definitely have changed, not in a bad way. I would say I've evolved myself as a human being, not only in my physical but also my spiritual life. And why I would say it's different. The old Jevin per se was very shy. I didn't really, like I said, I didn't have a team behind me. So knowing I can now come to Chris and I can be honest about any problem I have and he can give me advice. Sometimes also I think the hardest thing we don't want to accept is maybe criticism, and sometimes positive criticism isn't a bad thing because that's what actually helps you grow. So I would say how I changed was just evolution in my own personal life, in a sense of I would just go impromptu through my thoughts, but now I actually have a fixed plan. I have a fixed checklist that I'm going towards, and that actually helps me hit those goals much more sooner. In correlation as well as to how they should happen, instead of hitting goals that don't connect with one another, if that makes sense.
2023 trading wise, how was your year?
I had a good year, 2023. I had a very good year. I actually told Mo yesterday, I told him I'm still on my December budget now for January. So it was very, very good. The only challenge I would say I've had was with prop firms. I don't know what it is about funding, seeing so many numbers. It just, I don't know, it scares me. But other than that, it's good. Evolving my strategy, keeping it simple, trading less, and taking more crystal clear setups, not machine gunning it. Yeah.
Prop firms, so like you said, you've got I love that you're being honest, that you've got a certain mental block, and it's a challenge that you haven't yet mastered in the sense of the prop firm space. What are your takeaways from 2023 in attempting challenges? What have you learned during 2023, and then we're going to go to what are you going to try and adapt to in 2024?
My first time I traded the prop firm, I lost the account because I didn't understand what drawdown, not that I didn't understand what drawdown means, but I didn't understand what the drawdown rule meant. So I lost the account and it's like, okay, I learned that. My second mistake was then over trading on a prop firm account, because like a lot of you guys might know, I trade very small accounts, so I would take a lot of trades on them, double, quadruple the account moving forward, and that's completely different than the prop firm. You can't come in with that mindset. So what I've learned was, if you're gonna trading, so this is also the thing with the huge amount of money. If you're gonna be trading a prop firm account, this is something that I've learned now recently. That percentage that you're risking, if you really go back and you analyze the return on it, there's no need to actually be greedy and overtrade compared to like when you're trading a small personal account, because like Chris said, it's an asset, and once you can get to the point where you fund it and you have that account, you can literally have an income every single month instead of buying a new challenge every single time.
Why, we've talked about it. I know you've got this sense of you want to just get it over and done with. You feel rushed to get it done. Why do you think you've got that issue?
I spoke about a lot of times before. I don't have all the money in the world, so sometimes I face things where it's like I need money. So, but that's also goes back to what I learned the office last year. Don't let your circumstances define your trading. And I've also realized that you should just manage your funds much more. You should have more control of your money. So instead of one account carrying all the pressure of all your expenses, have like a master account, a slave account, and an extra account, if that makes sense, so that you don't actually feel rushed to put an X percentage on that account, whereas you can make 1% here, 1% here, 1% here, and you can literally make the target that you wanted to make with less risk on the account itself.
Very short and sweet. Give us the plan of action for passing prop firm accounts in 2024. What is your plan?
For me personally, is sticking to 1 or 2 setups a day, 2 bullets a day, and literally risking less than 1% on my account. So what I've learned, like Chris said now, that rush, I'm over that rush now. I'm willing to take 6 months to get funded now, literally. So I'm willing to risk 0.5% on the account and literally have a 1 to 3 risk reward. So even if I make 1% or 1.5% a week on that account, I'm fine with that. Because my other thing was also, I always bought small challenges. So I always then thought about, or started thinking about the scaling up option. So if I get funded and I can scale up long term, that percentages will become much, much bigger. So yeah.
Jeff, just a little bit of a rewind quickly. You used the phrase where you came from, you didn't have a lot of resources. Trading is quite an industry that's out there. How did you get into trading?
So I moved to PE. The plan was to come study. Didn't get a bursary, so I had to go look for a job. My first job then, I was in a call center where I had to convince people, but like we had to make appointments. So I never understood why making appointments. What is this presentation say doing? Oh, it's about trading. So Jeff actually gave me a trading account with a bonus, and we followed signals. So it's gonna sound cliche or many people might not be able to relate to this. My first week in trading was only 7 days. So 7 days of signals. A week later, I made a withdrawal. So to me, immediately, I saw that trading was real. You can make money from your phone. And ever since then, my first withdrawal, ever since then, I was like, I'm going to dedicate my life to this.
Then moving forward, like we spoke about the mental blocks, you have obviously you are a private funded trader, you are taking the steps to go into the funded industry. But for your per se, where you've had the one, you're trying to do the other, what is your perception on the two? Do you think there's a place, one's better than the other, one's more for certain people, one's for other people, they both teach you different skills? I'd say as a trader, what's your thoughts on that?
Okay. Just get this sorted. Right. Angle good.
That's perfect. Chris, why don't you start? Just introduce yourself there.
Hey guys, Chris here, or better known to the chat as Chris Market Bull, and I am the Chief of Trading here at the Vault Markets Office PE.
Awesome. You know, I love that you use that phrase. I think that's exactly where we're going to start off with. I think 2023 was a year for everyone, but 2023 for yourself, I think that was the year, the birth of Chris, the Market Bull. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think we need to rewind it back. I think there was a time where I did share a little bit about my story as well in the trading industry, my professional industry that I was in. But a lot of guys don't realize I've also been into the industry where I had my own website where I was selling a course. We were trying to do it a little bit too professional, too transparent. Comes back to that you need to play the game, where we didn't sell lifestyle. We were trying to keep it almost like as an investment bank style. Didn't really play out ups and downs, but always had the dream and the aspirations of live streaming. Was never really comfortable in front of a camera. I laughed because we had Caitlin the other day on as well, and she didn't like it, and I was exactly like that. I started as well, where Javin was talking about his stutter. You should have seen me when I tried to record my first YouTube video. I think I did like 2 hours of shooting, didn't use any of it, and I think it took me 6 months to do one video that I was happy with, and after that I was like, geez, that was too much energy. So the Chris Market Bull thing was born in 2023, and the entire culmination of what we envisioned this to be, I think it's starting to show its fruits. It's starting to become a lot clearer. Like initially we just started and we said, look, we want to provide value for traders, but yeah, that's where the bull was born, and that's where we're going to take it. So yeah.
So I think now, a quick little rewind. We know you've been in the industry for a while, but we want you to just go back. Tell us of how you got into this industry, and when you got in, how your journey changed from going to, like you said, almost this route of kind of, investment banking to the trader that you are to now being a live stream trader, how it literally changed over that time period?
Yeah, so as always, when you in a 9 to 5 and you obviously as a young individual, you chase money. That's one of the reasons why I studied structural engineering when I was in standard 9. When we were talking to people and we asked like, what is a profession where you can make money? And guys were like, doctors are making money, accountants are making money, engineers. I was in a technical school, so I didn't have biology, so I couldn't go and study to become a doctor. We didn't have accounting, so I couldn't go and study accounting. I only had science and maths. So the next thing was, all right, there's a shortage of structural and civil engineers. To my disappointment, it wasn't really a high-paying job when you started out. And the trading thing started actually with another engineer, mechanical engineer, Jean Cordier. And he's actually been in the industry longer than me. When the time when he introduced it to me, I think he was already like 5-6 years in. So that's also maybe somebody we need to chat to one day. But he started chatting to me about it. Weirdly enough, the second time around, he showed me some profits on MT4. Didn't even know what MT4, just saw like blue numbers. And I think it was like he made 30K that week. And I wasn't even earning 30K a month at that stage. And I was like, shit, how's this man making my monthly salary in a week? And the first thing he told me is baby pips. That's where I, believe it or not, when I asked him, he said baby pips. And I went through it for a little bit. Left it. I'm like, I don't know what a candle is. Guys are talking about wick candles, that. And saw him again. And one day I said, John, just pull through. He was living in Dispatch at the time. I said, pull through to Port Elizabeth. I want to really start trading. I want to like get your mind on it. Like, just show me the ropes. Don't tell me baby pips. Like, there needs to be like some type of route I need to follow. And as always, I told you guys the first time, I think it was 300 Rand that I made, withdrew it. I still bought a sushi that evening, and that's when it became real to me, where it's a small amount, but for me to make that, looking at a chart, buying or selling an instrument, that's where it became real. Almost became an obsession. I think you can ask my wife, after work, before we had kids, I would sit down, till from like 8 till 12 in the evenings. Then when I get to bed, I had trading books next to my bed. I would read it. When we're on holiday, it's like these trading books were like Bibles with me. Like everywhere I go, I've got all these books that I'm trying to read, following people on Twitter. And eventually that obsession became from like a hobby to try and master the art of trading, to the stage where I said, look, the thing with working a 9 to 5, you cannot leverage your time. You only have so much time in a day. You're technically selling your time. And the thing with trading is I always saw that opportunity to leverage money, where the skill in itself, if you can master that, the amount of, let's call it leverage, or what's the word? Compounding interest. So like almost compounding your money with trading. And that's when I made the shift. Also, as many of you, like Keegan, wasn't a comfortable transition. Had my parents, my mom actually cry on the phone, phoning me every day since I left my job. And she's like, son, how are you going to become a full-time gambler? Why don't you go back to your old company? And I haven't looked back. Hasn't been easy. Believe it or not, there's been a lot of ups, there's been a lot of downs. Didn't have a support structure like we've got here. Couldn't really talk to anybody. And also being a young professional, you almost don't want to go chat to other people that are successful and say, hey, I'm actually struggling financially, mentally. This is what I'm going through. Do you have any advice? So as a man, you keep it to yourself. You're like, shit, let me work through this on my own. And eventually you become quite a hardened person.
but I think it also helps you to grow in that sense of like you need to pick yourself up. Like nobody's going to come and help you and get you out of a ditch. You got yourself there. You better dig yourself out. So yeah, that's hopefully I can keep it as short and sweet and as concise as possible, but that's the journey in a nutshell.
Now we're going to dive right into it. As we said, 2023 was the birth of Chris the Market Bull. We talk about these influencer traders, we talk about all of them, and you've caused quite the stir in this trading community. This whole Chris the Market Bull, you've got almost this persona, the stature of power, if you want to put it this way. And as the people like to say, the man of the people. How do you feel about this and what other traders are thinking about you at this point? Where do you think you stand in this trading industry?
Influencers, yeah. So I never really wanted to become an influencer. I was always living a very private life, and at one stage my passion was always to try and impact other people's life, and my question was always, how do I get to a platform where I can speak into other people's life when it comes to business, when it comes to motivating people, when it comes to trading. And believe it or not, there was a dream a while back, I think 4 or 5 years ago, where I wanted to stream. I think I've told you guys the story. I think I streamed for 2 or 3 weeks, never really kicked off. I think I had like 8 viewers per session, didn't really have a following on social media. At that stage I think I had like 600 people on Instagram, and I didn't want to tough it through. I'm somebody that wants to see results very quickly, and unfortunately in this space, when it comes to creating content, when it comes to live streaming, at the end of the day it's hard yards. We've seen it. It's a grind. And when it comes to calling people out, like I think there came a time last year where there was just too much going on, where innocent people were getting hurt. And we've talked about it so many times, where money in essence becomes a little bit spiritual, because somebody is actually putting their time or actually sacrificing time for money. So when you basically swindle somebody out of their hard-earned money, you actually stole time from them. They could have been spending that with their family, with friends, with loved ones. So I think there was a season last year where we had to address the industry. Like we said before, it's not our job as traders here to address that. It's our job to show the guys what is the benchmark of good quality trading, good quality mentorship, just good overall leadership. And my thing with other traders is, we've said it so many times, we're not here to try and divide and conquer. Effectively, we want to build a strong community of traders in SA. And I think Keegan said it very well earlier in the week, where he said there's enough opportunity for everybody to grow. There's enough opportunity for everyone to do well. So it's not a zero-sum game. It's not like Keegan has to do well, or Keegan shouldn't be doing well because otherwise I can't do well. Keegan needs to lose in order for me to win. No. All of us can win together, and that is ideally what I hope for in the SA trading community. But there is a sense of traders coming together. We're starting to see the real ones coming to the fore, and I think 2024, let's call it the year of the cleansing, where people will see who are the real ones and who are the fakes. And ultimately, we just want to keep ourselves honest, but we also want to keep other traders and influencers honest, because it's in the word influencers. How are you influencing people? If you're influencing them for the bad, not good. If it's for their own good, great. We're on board.
And I think to wrap it up, we're going to keep it short and sweet. What can people expect in 2024 from the Bull?
2024, obviously we're starting with this series, very excited for this. As much as we love trading, I think myself, Keegan, Mo, all of us have a passion for creating content as well. And the channel, we want to grow that. I think that's a big goal for all of us here, is to get the channel to a stage where we can really influence people for the good. And it's more about, we had this discussion as well, just spiritual growth as well, individual growth, as a person, as a father, as a husband, as a leader, as a trader, as a friend, just growing day by day, taking it week by week, that at the end of the year you can be proud of yourself from saying, look, I've grown in all aspects of life, not just monetary wise, but in terms of your own personality. And I don't want to give away too much, but we've got some big plans that all of us have talked about here. And as always, with everything we start here, we always say never despise the day of small beginnings. We started humbly with one webcam. We didn't have a light. And slowly but surely, we're adding layer by layer, brick by brick, and just improving on that. So just everything we do to improve, make sure that we're better than the last. And this first episode, is it going to be good? Is it going to be great? Is it going to be bad? I don't know. But I can promise you, as a team, we're going to build on it. And by the end of the year, I'm very excited to see where we are with the channel, with this series, and even just with trading. So yeah, bigger, better, moving forward. And if you fail quick and go ahead. Keep moving.
And that's a wrap.
Rapperino.